working. One. Am I working? Oh, right. Yes, okay. Have you had ice cream or a brownie or chocolate? Are you feeling all right? Yeah? Are you all, your sugar is out for me, please? Yeah? I want your energy. Great. Okay, let's start. Yeah, but just quick disclaimer, this is not my memorial. I know I look like an angel over there above the clouds. I am Alkistis, sorry about that. My parents didn't think through when they named me. But I am the head of, I've got to look at that. I'm the head of user-centered design for Companies House. And like Theresa May said in her last speech at number 10, it's been the biggest honor of my life. So today, before we start, I'll talk to you about who we are. Raise your hand if you know what Companies House is. Okay, brilliant. Any volunteers? Yeah? Yes? Yes, please. Oh, sorry. sorry. Thank you. That's the thank you. No, volunteers to explain. Sorry. So we are. We incorporate. You can come to us to start a company, update your company information, change your name if you like, and close your company if you have gone bust, basically. And we are sponsored by the Department for Business and Trade. I had to look that up because that changes every week. So our users are mainly data providers, so people giving us data, and these are company owners, company secretaries. Could be my mum because I'm bored of doing it. Anyone who wants to do it on my behalf. Agents, these are usually lawyers or accountants, and then we have people who are presenting, so people acting on behalf of lazy people who don't want to do it themselves, basically. So our other type of users are data consumers, and these are all of you, probably you've searched our register. We are basically the place to go and check company information. But what you can't see up here is look at that up there. Companies House does not verify the accuracy of the information filled. So we collect information, but we're not verifying it. So we're about to start verifying it. So watch this space. If you are a company director, we're going to ask you to come and, I hope I can say, yeah, sorry. It's the Economic Crime Act. It's been announced a long time ago. I thought I'd lose my job for a second. Right, so, come on, please. There we go. Oh, sorry, you have to see this. I look great. This is me and my team, my lovely team. Some of them are here, by the way. They've got to take flattering photos of me. That's why I brought them round. And I want to talk to you about them because I do love them. So when I started a year and a half ago, we were 12 people. Now we're 40. Because I have that effect on people. So we've got a few service designers, interaction designers. We've got a great interaction design team. They're mostly here, that's why I've got to say that. And content designers, user researchers, and as of recently, we have brought in the performance analysts to sit under the user-centered design, and that has been great because we get insights not only from user research but also the performance analysis team. So we've scaled up massively. How we work, you know this, I'm not going to go, hopefully you do. We just test, iterate, get feedback from the analytics, design, test, iterate. It's story of our lives, basically, ongoing, keeps going. I don't do any of it because I'm the head, so my team does. But it's really fun. Now, if you've seen my talk, I wanted to talk about developing people because if I leave Companies House one day, I'm not anytime soon, but if I leave, I'd like people to think of me as somebody who has really developed people. And I actually have a really interesting story because my career in digital started 5 years ago when I joined GDS, Government Digital Service, gov.uk, if you don't know that. And I didn't know anything about digital, but at the time they had an academy and I used every single course in that academy. And within 5 years, I went from knowing nothing about digital to heading up a user-centered design team. And I want to be that person for other people. So I want my legacy to be developing people, and I want to be remembered for that, of course. So if you like that logo, do you like that logo? What? Yeah, where's the gun? So Monica over there, Monica designed it for us. I was tired of hearing we don't have budget. And I was like, right, okay. You know what, I'm done. We're creating a CH campus, so let's create an education hub for people to share knowledge and UX skills. Because not only this way we will develop, we have to stay up to date with the market, but also we can teach lots of people to use user-centered design in whatever they do. Because if you design a spreadsheet, if you write a Word document, you're a designer. Everything you produce is a design. So we recently launched 3 courses, hopefully. Yeah, so we are launching Introduction to Prototyping, Introduction to Service Design, and Writing Clearly Content Design. And hopefully in the future we'll also cover performance analytics and, and user research, more detailed user research. And I came up with the idea purely based on assumption. And the assumption was, this has worked for me, and I think that will work for lots of other people. And I'm pleased to tell you we're sold out. So within a month, we had something like, 30, 35 people signing up, and they were all people from our operations teams, contact center, legal, people who are not familiar with user-centered design, but they want to find out more. So the vision for the campus is that we will start recording, so we can also develop a library of resources, and hopefully start onboarding other professions. So the product team can come and do training on how to use Mural to kind of create a roadmap, or very basic stuff. So what I wanted to say is that if you have something that you can share, if you have something that you know, just take 10 minutes to record it. And start creating a sort of repository of things you know, because I think developing people is it's the best thing you can do as a leader. Now, here's where things get a little bit complicated. So when I first started working at Companies House, I was told, don't do that, that's a business analysis job. Like, oh no, product managers do that. And I thought, okay, you know what, I'm tired. Let's just get everyone together and agree who's doing what before we even start. So I'll show you. Don't try to read it, because I didn't realize the resolution would be that. I thought, I'd look cool and you can't read the details. But what we decided to do was agree on who's responsible, who's accountable, who needs to be consulted, and who needs to be informed, and what artifacts we have to produce per phase of delivery. So this is basically a very useless piece of work for you. But what I wanted to show you here is just, it's as basic as a table. It could be a notebook. It could be, starts very small. It doesn't have to look fancy. But what it has to do is list, at the beginning of every phase of whatever you try to do, sit down with people and agree on who's doing what. It's as simple as that. Agree on the roles, agree on responsibilities, agree on deadlines, and make sure everyone is clear. And that will transform, hopefully, again, I'm assuming, but I'm hoping that will change your working culture within your organization. To be fully transparent, you can see that's a discovery. I have not written alpha yet. It's taken me, I've had 3 or 4 workshops with the other heads of professions just to agree on that. It takes a very long time, but it's something. And when we onboard, when we have new starters, or we onboard a delivery partner in the future, we can say, if you're coming in to do a discovery, these are the things we want you to produce, these are the ceremonies we want you to deliver, and that's how things work within our organization. It's not mandated, it's just a light suggestion. by the head of profession. So, you know, not so light. But it's just an effort to get things agreed between us. So, right, so I wanted my talk to be about leadership in the UCD space today because my background is a little bit of everything, and I identify as a service designer, mostly, a storyteller, you know, whatever you want to call it. I'm not very good at content design, I'm not very good at user research, I understand it all, but my job is mainly to just kind of look at everything that's going on at the same time and jump in, and when things get sticky, just basically seem like I know it all and say, that's what we're doing, let's go and do that. And it's not easy. And the reason why it's not easy is because in government, we're not driven by competition. So there's only one UK government. If you didn't know that, you found out today. So we're not driven the same way. We don't have the same drivers that, say, the private sector has. Because if you are Monzo, there's another product out there, and if you don't deliver the best experience, you will lose all your customers. Sorry. So we don't really have that anymore. So it's 10 times harder for me to advocate for user needs, because we're driven by policy, and the policy says you've got to register all limited partnerships by next year. You've got to verify every single company director by next year. And when I say, well, actually, that would be a very user-friendly way of doing it, they're like, no, we have to do it. So my job is mainly being that person talking about the user to people who just want to deliver something and they're under pressure to get it done. So, next slide, please. Don't know. Really likes that slide, probably. Come on. Sorry about that. Yeah, I think we're stuck, Henry. Oh, right. I think it's... Yeah, sorry. So, in case you don't know what the service standard is, the service standard is something that GDS created a long time ago, and it's a set of standards that every government service has to meet before it launches on gov.uk. And the objective of the standard was to make sure that all the services are meeting user needs, all the services are user-centered. So I'll show you the standard just now. There are 14 points on the service standard. It used to be the digital service standard, now it's called the service standard. And that was done on purpose because we think a service is not just your digital journey, is from the point you read about you land on the gov.uk page all the way to completing your transaction and getting your goal accomplished. So as a leader in the UCD space in government, this is my Bible, that's my stick really. So if people are not listening, I will say, well, we can't launch our service because we're not going to pass the service assessment because we don't fully understand our users, we haven't solved the whole problem, we haven't provided joined app service, you know. So the reason why I wanted to share that with you is that if you are working in the private sector, this is very applicable to you. So try to think of ways of using that as a checkpoint when you deliver something. Do I fully understand my users? Have I solved the whole problem? Have I made the service simple to use? Yeah. So, talking about solving the whole problem. One of the issues we have in government is that occasionally you hear, this is not a company's house problem, that's an HMRC problem. But the user doesn't care about, the user just wants to get the job done. They don't care if it's led by HMRC or company's house. So what we end up doing is we get the users to file their accounts with HMRC and file the same accounts with company's house. So we don't really, part of my job is to say, hang on a minute, we have to solve the whole problem. We have to work with HMRC, join up the service and make the user just do it once. And we have done that in many occasions. But I wanted to use a very good example of a service called Tell Us Once. I don't know if has anyone heard of that service before? Yeah? So Tell Us Once is, in case, it's quite sad actually, in case someone dies, a step-by-step guide of what you should do. And I recently spoke to a friend who contacted me and said, my dad passed away. and I don't know, you know about government, what am I supposed to do? And I said, have you looked at Tell Us Once? Because it has broken down these government barriers, and what they've done is just asked the users to just tell them once when someone's died, and that information goes to HMRC, DWP, every single government organisation. You don't need to think, oh, I've got 15 different organisations to notify. It takes 5 minutes. And if you were to try and put yourself in the position of someone whose close ones have just passed away, the last thing you want is just to go through the process of telling people someone has died. So that is a very good example of service design in government. Advocate for accessible design. I know a lot of us here are accessible. No, we are advocates for accessibility, but in government we have to meet accessibility regulations, mainly on our interaction designs. We have to meet the WCAG 2.1. Yeah, got it. Sorry, I've got a lead, interaction design lead to help. So we have to meet regulations on accessibility, but we also have to make sure that everyone can access our services. So assumptions like everyone has a phone, everyone has network, everyone can do it, everyone has two hands to type, everyone can do it. We have to challenge these assumptions and make sure our services work for everyone, because they don't have a choice. They have to use our services. And occasionally we get freedom of information requests from our users to say, can you tell us what user research you've done with users with accessibility needs or assisted digital needs on that service, because I just tried to use it and I struggled with that. And we have to go and look back and cover our bases and say we have actually done research with an accessibility panel, and we have a variety of kind of users we've tested with to get some confidence that our services work. I must be doing, yeah. So this is one of the things I love the most doing. I think that's, I'm very humble. I think that's my strongest skill. Is storytelling to influence stakeholders. This is a very, very sad and ugly blueprint, but this is a very high-level blueprint of companies' houses. So you can see right over there, if you go on our organisation page, you'll see start a company, update your company details. And all I've done is just created little flows, and the things in red are pages I expect, we have to add, and what I assume and what I expect. But as I do the mapping out of my assumptions, then you can see some of the post-it notes, and these tend to be design challenges that we've got to do. So say when we start a company, we will soon ask users to verify their identity. So one of the assumptions is we use Government Gateway for them to sign in, because they sign in with us and HMRC. Can we migrate to one login, for example, because it's a better user experience? That's a design challenge we have to test. But what this does for me, I have to go and work with very senior stakeholders. And I can use that to say, if we take resources to kind of deliver this file your confirmation statement service, it means we're not going to deliver your start a company BIs that we have to deliver. And that will impact X amount of users. So can you explain to me why this is more of a priority for you over this? Because I think, for me, more users will be impacted if we were to do that. So it's a very high-level blueprint. It's not technically sound. I'm sure you guys produce probably much better blueprints. But the objective here is to just tell a story to very high-level people who don't always see the full picture, and they kind of think, oh, I've got an idea. And it's more like turning from a point of experimenting to actually testing for something, doing targeting testing, and having a very clear objective as to what we're trying to achieve. Quick disclaimer, none of this is happening, none of this is true. So, present scenarios, that, I'll skip through that very quickly. But most of the work that we have to do when we talk to these senior stakeholders is to say, if this person was trying to do that, when they need to do that, because they're trying to achieve that, then we have to do that. Do you understand the challenge we're posing to the user? So scenarios really help get these high senior level people understand that what they are proposing might not be what the users are trying to achieve. So assumptions. Assumptions are a very dangerous thing in life. And actually someone told me, and I really liked that, if you look at the word assume, it's kind of like an anagram of you as me. So you expect people think the same way you think. And I do this all the time because I think the way I think is the right way. And so, well, so does everybody. But I just want to show you an example of influencing people and capturing assumptions. So here's a story. It's a story about an orange. Someone told me once and I really liked it. So you've got Tom and Sophie and Susie's the mum. And Tom says, I want the orange. Sophie says, Mum, it's my orange. And Susie says, I'm trying to work. No one's having the orange. End of story. Okay? So there is a big number of assumptions being made here. They both want the orange. The mum has assumed there's only one orange, or there's probably only one orange, but they haven't said why. So here is what's actually happening. Mum, I need the orange so that I can eat it. Sophie, Mum, I need the orange so that I can use the peel to make a hat for my doll. Okay, I need to, sorry, I made a typo because I'm not perfect, sorry. Can't be perfect all the time, you know. So that you can, let me help you peel it, basically, so you can both have it. You can eat it and you can have the hat. So imagine if you're arguing with somebody over something, but you haven't taken the time to really think, what are you assuming there? And there are many times, you know, we have a big overlap with the business analysis team because we map things, they map things. And we have a very common objective. We both want to map things. They map back-end operations, we map front-end. But there are times that we're like, hey, that's my thing. We don't really understand. If we were to use this kind of user-centered language, why are you mapping this? What are you trying to achieve? Because I'm mapping it because I'm trying to achieve that. Okay, we're trying to achieve the same thing, so should we get together? So what I'd like to do is ask you to take 5 minutes to talk to the person next to you about one of the issues that you're currently facing at work, whatever that is. I think we did talk about an example. I'm sure you have people that, you know, don't always see eye to eye. Take 5 minutes to think what the problem is that you're facing, what assumptions you're making about the problem, and how different things would be if people were expressing their opinion as a user need. Okay, and we'll come back in 5. Right, so we've got just a few slides left. So the next slide is about embracing your constraints. I'm not very good at embracing constraints, but what I'm about to show you changed my life. This was from the old days of when I was a nanny, a long time ago, thankfully. It's a great job, sorry, I was joking. And I read this book once called Beautiful Oops, and I loved it. I was like, who wrote this book? That's amazing. And it just teaches children that when they try to design something, when they try to draw something, they've got a very clear idea what they want it to be, something specific. But if something goes wrong, they have to, the real challenge where you can really make art is to turn it round and turn it into a really nice kind of painting. So you can see up there, a smudge and a smear can make magic appear. And I think a torn piece of paper can turn into a crocodile. So we all have to deal with old platforms, legacy platforms, lack of data, lack of resource, lack of devs. There's always a lack of something. But, you know, in the spirit of put good vibes only, I think there is an opportunity to embrace your constraints. And I'm going to tell you a story very quickly. But we had to deliver a service last year. We had a legislative deadline. And 3 weeks before the deadline, the Department for Business and Trade turn around and say, actually, we've got a new requirement. We completely forgot to factor in the legislation. So now when you register overseas entities, they have to be registered by agents. And the agents have to register with Companies House. And I went to the people, I was very new to the role, and I said, right, let's see the CRM that we've got. And they were like, no, we don't have a CRM. We have a database that can do stuff, but we don't have a centralized CRM. And I was like, okay, I think I should find another job. Where's the exit? But I said, okay, what do we have? We have Microsoft 360. Well, yeah. I went, okay, well, why don't we create a SharePoint list? Can we create a form on a SharePoint list? Yeah, we can. Okay, so I got in a few, I don't even know what the job title is. They're amazing, they're legends. And within a day, we designed an end-to-end service where people can send us an email. We extract the data from the email. We create a new entry into SharePoint. The entry it was like filling out a form, so it had validation, error validation. Are you sure this is the right information? Are you sure? And we identified which fields were quite sensitive, so we had to validate a few times when we entered the information there. And at the time, that was an interim solution. I was like, okay, I'll agree to this so long as you promise that we develop an actual service to replace it. But it turned out it worked so well that now we're using SharePoint for other things that we didn't know that we could use SharePoint for. So this was my beautiful oops in that situation. I was like, right, this is an opportunity to get something out of it. I'm not going to encourage you to use SharePoint as a CRM, just so you know. But you know, when you do, there's always, when a door closes, a window opens. So look for that window where you are. And empowering your teams. Everyone's a service designer. Everyone can solve a problem. Everyone kind of improves processes and operations. So we have something called we call it Solve a Design Challenge workshop every Wednesday. And we invite people from around the business to come and kind of focus on a problem with us and solve a problem within an hour. Sadly, by the time we get to understand the problem, the session's up. It's a bit like counselling. But it's about getting people involved and making them understand that they can solve problems. Everyone can do it. I am a firm believer in creating a vision, because I think as a lead, you have to create that kind of momentum for your team. You have to be you have to say, we're here, this is our this is our real self right now, and this is our ideal self, and these are the steps we're going to take to get to our ideal self. And there are lots of tools. Of course, you can have a user research roadmap. I really like the idea of now, later, and in the future. Time boxing is what can get you kind of lose sight of user needs sometimes. And I included this here because this is my fully assumed dream of what I'd like Companies House to be. But I would like DIY people to be able, DIY officers to be able to log in the same way you'd log into your banking account and manage your companies, file for your account through one centralized place, through one sign-in for everything, every single Companies House service. And I don't know if we'll get there, but this is me going to very senior people saying, I would really like to be instrumental in driving things towards that direction. It might take us 10 years, but I would like to be able to have my own company in 10 years and say, I helped create that. I drove that vision. And what I tell my team a lot when we get told, no, that's going to take 20 years, it's not going to happen, I say dreaming is for free. My dad used to say, you want to go on holiday? Okay, close your eyes. Where are we going? Dreaming is for free. But I think yeah, he's really funny. As a leader in the UX space, you have to have that vision, and no one should get on your way, because there will always be building blocks in what you do. There will always be people getting on your way, but if you have to keep going, you have to keep believing, you have to keep dreaming. I know that's a very vague takeaway, but you know. And finally, I was going to say, I am absolutely nobody without my team. And I say that and I get quite emotional because I mean, look at them, right? James featuring everywhere. But I am no one. They are the people doing the work. They are the experts. If you take them away, I'm nobody. They're the people actually delivering actual change. And I wish I had the time to sit down with everyone and learn the fundamentals of content design or interaction design or how to code. It's on my roadmap, you know. But they are the people who are actually empowering me to be who I am. Any questions? Thank you.